Welcome to the flexibility form. In these exercises, we're going to do something very interesting. We're going to blend classical yoga postures with Tai Chi-style movement, with a fluid type of movement. Why do I do this? I spent a lot of years living in India when I was a younger man, and I did a lot of yoga. And the way that yoga is normally practiced is a position will be done with great precision. And then the practitioner will do another position also with great precision. But the transition between those two postures, which includes many other postures, is usually quite sloppy. And I began to think about that, and I wanted to make my movements between postures of equal beauty as the posture themselves. And then one day I was thinking about it, and I thought, well, everyone is always doing yoga. There's not a possibility of not doing yoga, because we're always inhabiting a body, and we're always doing something with the body. So why not attain meditative awareness while we're doing whatever we're doing? Driving a car, brushing our teeth, putting on our shoes. It's all yoga. It's all this great possibility of awareness. So I put all of these yoga postures together in this fluid, interconnected sequence, and I pay particular attention to going from the position to a next position. The transitions between the positions are just as important to me as the positions themselves. Another thing that's important about this is I'm not really trying to attain flexibility. That's not a primary focus. The flexibility is a byproduct. The most important things that I'm doing is trying to learn how to station my attention in distinct regions of my body. So we use postures to create a sensation of stretch somewhere. The sensation of stretch becomes a magnet for our attention so that we can go there. Once we go there, not thinking about a place, but feeling a place, inhabiting a place where the sensation of stretch is. Once you can go there, then you can soften there. First of all, when you get to a distinct part of your body, don't have an agenda. Just feel. Be present. And then once you're present, that part of the body will give to you an insight, an intuition, an indication of what you should do. Should you tighten there? Should you strengthen there? Should you lengthen there? Should you soften there? First of all, you go, feel, and then you will take some action. Another wonderful thing about the flexibility form is because of all of these different movements that we're going to do, there's going to be an interplay of bones and ligaments and tendons and joints and muscles, and they'll squeeze acupuncture points. There's all of these acupuncture points all over your body, so by doing these exercises, we're going to give ourselves our own internal acupuncture treatment. We're also going to get a very deeply relaxing myofascial massage. We're giving ourselves our own massage treatment. We're getting chiropractic decompression of the different joint structures. So there's a wonderful series of things that are happening to us physically and also psychologically by doing these. As you practice these movements, take your time. I'm now 48 years old, and I began a very serious practice of yoga when I moved to India when I was 12 years old. So I've been doing yoga daily for 36 years. Don't be in a hurry to get to my level of flexibility. Actually, don't be in a hurry to get to any level of flexibility. Rather, be with where you are now. It's not important to know the names of these postures. They're not important at all. The thing to do is inhabit the postures. So as you're learning these postures, when you get the posture, then shut your eyes. Frequently during these movements, you'll see my eyes are shut. What I'm doing is I found the posture, and then I shut my eyes and I feel it. And I move around in the posture just a little bit, because that movement reveals areas of tightness that you wouldn't have found if you were doing the posture in a static way. Throughout this video, I'll give a lot of other instructions as we're doing these movements, but the most important thing is this idea of feeling, being present within. So I hope you enjoy the video, and now let's start the exercises. An important matter is the pace or speed at which you practice and learn the Nomadics movements. There is no prescribed or correct speed. In the beginning, I would suggest that you have a lot of patience with yourself and do the movement slowly and gently, taking the time to really explore and feel each posture and movement. As you become more familiar with the movements, experiment with different paces of movement until you find what is best for your own body and psychology. Even this pace will change over time. The manner in which I personally practice the Nomadics movements is to do the morning movements each morning for 20 minutes, the flexibility form 2 or 3 times each week for 30 minutes, and the strength endurance form for an hour twice a week. There is no absolutely correct way to do the movements and postures in the Nomadics forms. Every person has a different body and therefore will do the exercises in a slightly different way. One thing that distinguishes my method of teaching movement is that I do not ask my students to adapt their bodies to the movements, but rather encourage them to adapt the movements to their bodies. I personally believe that many movement systems, particularly yoga and Tai Chi, are too formalized and rigid in their approach. By insisting that postures be performed in formalized ways, these methods prevent people from ever discovering their own natural movement style. My primary intention in teaching the Nomadics exercises is therefore not to establish another form, but rather to introduce my students to their own bodies through a wide variety of movements that I teach. Then my students may go about the process of discovering their own unique forms or modifying the forms I have taught. The Asians in particular have a tendency to focus on movement forms and load them with special meaning to the point of sanctifying them. To study the teachings of the ancient masters, we should learn their forms simply without excessive reverence or preconception. The real mind and spirit of the technique will naturally come out of the form. We should not add spiritual explanation to the movement. It will come naturally, at first vaguely, and later very clearly. With mind, body, and technique unencumbered by philosophizing, you will more easily find the essence of the movements. The most important thing to remember in doing the Nomadics exercises is that they are both physical exercises and equally important they are meditation practices. Use the Nomadics exercises to develop greater flexibility and strength in your body at the same time that you are developing greater awareness and concentration in your mind. The instruction I most often give to my students is that they feel what they are doing. It is not only important to do the movements, it is equally important to be fully present in your body while you are moving through the postures and forms. You will notice in watching these videos that I often have my eyes closed while doing the forms. I am doing this so that all my concentration is directed within, to feel what is happening in my body as I am doing the forms. I suggest that once you have learned the basic order of the Nomadics movements, that you also practice the movements with your eyes closed. You will get the same quality of physical workout, and you will also have a wonderful experience of meditation. Feel into and experiment with each pose rather than simply holding it. Gently and slowly move while you are holding the positions and notice what this reveals to you.
By deviating from the classical form of the posture, you will find that your body shows you things it could not show if the posture was done in a static way. One of the biggest contributions nomadics can make to movement is to shift the focus from achieving results to experiencing the process. Instead of doing postures to get somewhere, experience what it means to be moving in the pose, letting the flow between the postures and in the positions lead you. There are different frameworks of mind that people bring to yoga postures. One involves viewing a posture as an end to be achieved, a goal. How far you get in the posture is what counts. Another one views the posture as a tool to open and explore the body. Instead of using the body to get the posture, you use the posture to open the body. Approaching postures as goals makes you less sensitive to the messages your body is sending. If your mind is primarily on the goal, the gap between where you are and where you want to be can bring tension and hinder movement. You push too hard and fast instead of allowing your body to open at its own natural pace. Each posture ideally involves the whole body, even though postures usually have one or more major areas where the stretch is most deeply felt. If you reach for your maximum edge too quickly, you bypass many areas. This gives the illusion of a completed stretch, but the body may not be properly aligned nor really as open as it can be. Opening other areas of the body before you reach for maximum extension helps ensure proper alignment and ultimately deepens the major stretch. There is no absolutely correct way to conduct breathing while doing the movements and postures of the Nomadics forms. The best advice I can give is simply to let the postures and movements determine their own breathing needs. Allow the natural intelligence of the body to guide the breath. Sometimes the breath will be slow and deep, other times faster. Do not impose ideas or rules on your breathing, but rather watch how the breathing naturally responds to the different movements. Then, once you have settled into a posture and allowed it to be your teacher, experiment with holding the posture while consciously deepening the breath. Slow and deepen your inhalation and exhalation, and simply observe the effects of this slower breath on the postures. I speak of nomadics as movement meditations in the sense that the different movements and postures are used to develop the mental capacity of focusing attention at precise places in the body, for example, in a certain muscle or organ. Once you learn this skill, you can then consciously influence what is happening in that muscle or organ. Once you are able to get inside the different parts of your body, then you can influence what is going on there. These other parts of your body are simply other parts of you. So what is being learned with the Nomadics method is how to inhabit the other parts of your total being so that you can change things from the inside. In any posture or movement that we do in the Nomadics exercises, we may notice that there are several different component parts to the movement or posture. An interesting exercise is to develop the capacity to notice and feel these multiple component parts all at the same time. Once each of the component parts have been functionally accessed, they can then be placed on automatic, and one particular part can be specifically focused upon. The next step is to learn to consciously accentuate or de-accentuate what is happening in that specific part while the other parts continue their actions on automatic. This practice of focusing your conscious attention at distinct places in your body is of fundamental importance in the Nomadics method. This is much more than simple visualization, though that is a necessary first step. Stationing your attention means taking your concentration to a particular part of your body and feeling it deeply from the inside. This does not mean thinking about the knee, but physically moving your mental concentration from out of your head and into your actual knee. Another focus of the Nomadics method is the practice of traction. Using a variety of different movements and postures, we are able to create elongation or decompression at different joint structures and along muscle groups. Hold the tip of one of your fingers and pull with a few pounds of force. You are putting traction on the joints of the pulled finger, allowing a subtle opening of the joints and a relaxation of the holding there. This method of releasing held tensions can be done for all the joints of the body, including the spine, through the Nomadics exercises. It is important to recognize that our minds extend below our shoulders. The mind and the body are one. We do not have bodies, rather we are bodies. The focus of the Nomadics philosophy is to help people embody themselves rather than disembody themselves. I do not encourage people to practice these exercises in order to free themselves from their body, but instead to be more present in their bodies. We have incarnated as human beings in our bodies and as our bodies. It is not possible to understand either the soul, the mind, or the emotions without the body. If we were not embodied, we would not even have a notion of spirit or soul. People often complain that they are getting stiff with old age. I do not agree with this thinking. I believe that it is the other way around, that we age as we get stiff, and we get stiff because we stop moving. Many people believe their static lives come from pain and fatigue, but in reality it is pain and fatigue that come from a life of decreasing movement. Therefore, an increase in movement range equals an increase in our degree of perceptual awareness and an increased ability to fully experience the process of living. When you approach movement practice as a way of tuning into your own body-mind feedback system, you will learn to be your own teacher. Teachers come and go, but you are always with yourself. Therefore, do not look upon teachers as authorities just because they have a way with words or extreme levels of flexibility. Take what you can from their presentations to open up doors for your own inner exploration. You will never be in touch with movements until you learn to do them on your own. Teachers are useful guideposts, but if you accept a teacher as an authority and obey blindly, that only puts you out of touch with your own self. The Nomadics exercises use movement as a vehicle through which an individual can engage in the process of personal integration and growth. Nomadics are informed by the principle that there is a relationship between motion and emotion, and that by exploring a more varied vocabulary of movement, people experience the possibility of becoming more balanced, yet increasingly spontaneous and adaptable. During this part of the video, I will demonstrate and explain each of the postures in the form. For many of the postures, they will be done on both sides of the body or by turning the body in both directions. While showing these two directions of the same posture, I will discuss a variety of points of concentration that are possible in each posture, and it is important that you explore each of these points of concentration on both sides. You will also notice that I give comments only on particular parts of each posture while the video shows me doing many additional things. This is because there is so much to say about each posture, but the time limitation of the video prevents me from explaining every detail of each posture. Therefore, it is important that you take things you learned from one posture and apply that to all the other postures. With your hands and arms firmly locked in front of your knees, allow upper spine to sink backwards as arms pull forward and upper back muscles spread away from spine. Experiment with altering the position of the chest and the head to focus the stretch into different areas of the neck. Rolling backwards, the head and arms are at first slightly elevated above the floor. The hands pull away from head, putting the shoulders in traction as the upper and middle back is flattened upon the floor. The knees are held towards the chest, which pushes lower back to the floor. Deepen the breathing using inhalation to expand the chest and bring more of the back into contact with the floor. Maintaining this position, move the arms slowly as shown and seek to elongate the arms while they are moving so as to put the shoulders in traction during the movement. Lift the head and begin to cycle the legs with the toes pointed. Right knee and torso roll towards left side of body. Right knee is held on the ground by the weight of left arm as right arm stretches above head, pulling away from pointed left toe and stretching entire length of body. Soften the breathing, shut the eyes, and then slowly sweep attention around the body to notice if there are any areas where you are holding that can be let go and relaxed. Maintaining this position, begin a slow, sweeping motion with the arm from above the head down to the side, all the while keeping the arm elongated and the shoulder in traction. Experiment with different positions of the hand to assist in the stretch of the arm and the neck. Left knee and torso roll towards right side of body. Left knee is held on ground by weight of right arm as left arm stretches above head, pulling away from pointed right toe. Maintaining this position, begin a slow, sweeping motion with the arm from above the head down to the side, all the while keeping the arm elongated and the shoulder in traction. Experiment with different positions of the hand to assist in the stretch of the arm and neck. The entire body rolls to the left side and left elbow is placed directly beneath left shoulder. Then the middle side of left rib cage is allowed to gently sink towards the floor, creating space between the ribs. Experiment with this motion, focusing on the gracefulness of the movement and keeping the toes pointed. The legs elevate off the floor a few inches and pull slightly backwards as the chest reaches forward, creating two distinct arcs along the body, one arc from upheld hand to chest and another from head to toes. Holding this position, elongate each arc and deepen your breathing during the process. Again, experiment with this motion, focusing on the gracefulness of the movement and keeping the toes pointed. The legs elevate off the floor a few inches and pull slightly backwards as the chest reaches forward, creating two distinct arcs along the body, one arc from upheld hand to the chest and another arc from the head to the toes. Holding this position, elongate each arc and deepen the breathing, noticing the different effects caused by inhalation and exhalation. Roll forward onto the front of the body with the chest elevated, making sure that both elbows are directly beneath the shoulders and allowing the middle chest to sink downward as the chest pulls forward, thereby creating stretch along the entire front of the chest. Drop the head forward and slowly rock it side to side as the back of the neck lengthens. Then lift the upper chest up and down, allowing it to move freely between the shoulders, all the while keeping the belly soft. The right knee pulls far forward as the torso turns towards the right. The left elbow stays directly below the left shoulder as the left front of chest is felt to pull away from left leg anchored on the floor. Try not to allow the upper front of left thigh to elevate, and you will get a very effective stretch of the psoas muscle. Point the left foot towards the ceiling without lifting the left thigh from the floor in order to increase the stretch of the front of the left thigh. When rising to this position, use both hands to help raise the torso up so the lower back does not do all the effort, and then continue using hands to push into the legs as support for the weight of the torso. Straighten the chest so the body is facing forwards. Lift the chest and lower shoulders. Elongate the spine by lifting from center of head, but lower and soften the jaw. Tuck the pelvis upward and soften the belly. While holding all these focuses of concentration, deepen the breathing and observe the different effects of inhalation and exhalation on the posture. Then allow your attention to sweep around your body in order to observe if there are any areas of unnecessary muscular contraction that you were distracted from feeling by the main areas of stretch in the posture. Both arms extend out to the sides, with the hands pulling away from the shoulders, putting the arms in traction. The hands bend back and turn up, straightening the fingers, while continuing to hold the torso high with tucked up pelvis and soft belly. The torso turns to the left and the right arm rises high while the left hand drops down, behind and slightly beneath the left leg, using the left leg as a brace and thereby helping to achieve two different arcs across the body. One arc from the tip of the right hand to the tip of the left hand, and another arc from the tip of the right hand across the chest to the left knee. The torso turns to the right, and the right hand drops to the floor approximately 2 feet from the right knee. The slightly bent left knee comes slightly off the floor, so the body develops a long arc from the tip of left hand to the tip of left foot. The weight of the torso falls through the right hand into the floor. After sinking into the posture, do micro movements within the posture in order to find different areas of tightness that would not be revealed by a static position. Experiment with pulling the left hand away from the head while moving the head in order to aim the stretch to particular parts of the neck. The left knee pulls far forward as the torso turns towards the left. The right elbow stays directly below the right shoulder as the right front of chest is felt to pull away from the right leg anchored on the floor. Try not to allow the upper front of the right thigh to elevate in order to increase the stretch of the psoas muscle. Point the right foot towards the ceiling without lifting the right thigh from the floor in order to increase the stretch of the front of the right thigh. When rising to this position, use both hands to help raise the torso up so that the lower back does not do all the effort, and then continue using the hands pushing into the legs as support for the weight of the torso. Straighten the chest so the body is facing forwards. Lift the chest and lower the shoulders. Elongate the spine by lifting from the center of head, but lower and soften the jaw. Tuck the pelvis upward and soften the belly. While holding all these focuses of concentration, deepen your breathing and observe the different effects of inhalation and exhalation on the posture. Raise the right arm high, then extend both arms out to the sides, putting the shoulders in traction. Maintain the erect position of the spine and the softness of the belly. The torso turns to the right as the left arm raises high and the right hand drops down, behind and slightly beneath the right leg, using that leg as a brace and thereby helping to achieve two different arcs across the body. One arc from the tip of the raised left hand to the tip of the right hand, and another arc from the tip of the left hand across the chest to the right knee. The torso turns to the left, and the left hand drops to the floor approximately 2 feet from the left knee. The right knee, which cannot be seen in the picture, comes slightly off the floor, so the body develops a long arc from the tip of the right hand to the tip of the right foot. The weight of the torso is falling through the left arm and hand into the floor. Allow your attention to sweep around your body, noticing areas of unnecessary muscular contraction, and then release these. Pull both heels inwards towards the groin and allow the knees to fall to the sides. The chest is held erect and the shoulders are dropped. The belly is soft and the breathing is easy. Still holding the chest high with the back straight, allow soft belly to drop towards the floor. Do not round the back, but come downward with the entire torso staying flat. Reach both hands far forwards and arch the fingers back towards the head. From this position, lift and pull the upper chest forward as the belly continues to sink to the floor. Deepen the breathing and expand the rib cage out to the sides. Turning the torso to the right, reaching left hand far to the right, and placing the right hand on top of the left hand to hold it down. Then allowing the left shoulder and left side of rib cage to sink towards the floor. Slowly sink into this position. Then once the body has sunk deeply, elongate the spine and deepen the breathing, feeling and observing internal changes from the inhalation and exhalation. Repeat this posture on the other side by turning the torso to the left, reaching the right hand far to the left, and placing the left hand on top of the right hand to anchor it to the floor. Then allow the right shoulder and the right side of the rib cage to sink to the floor. From this position, elongate the spine and allow the torso to continue to sink towards the floor. Deepen the breathing and soften the belly. Turn the torso back to the center with feet forwards so the legs make a square. Straighten the back and slowly drop the torso forward, with elbows falling to the soft parts of the calf muscles, with the hands placed gently on the feet. Then slowly and incrementally, gently pull the entire torso forward, elongate the spine, and allow the angle of the torso to sink even deeper. The weight of the torso falls into the legs, gently pushing them down without any muscular effort. The torso, still pulling forward, turns to the right. The right elbow falls to the soft area of the upper inside thigh just above the knee. The left hand pushes down and out on the left knee with the left elbow straight, so the weight of the torso is falling through both the arms into the legs, and the stretch is achieved simply by the weight of the falling torso and not by muscular effort. While in this position, elongate the spine and soften the belly. The torso turns to the left. The left elbow falls to the soft area of the upper inside left thigh just above the knee, and the right hand pushes down and out on the right knee with the right elbow staying straight, so that the weight of the torso is falling through both arms into the legs, and the stretch is achieved simply by the weight of the falling torso and not by muscular effort. While in this position, elongate the spine and experiment with either deepening the breathing or letting the breathing be easy and using awareness to scan for tightness in other parts of the body. The placement of the hands is very important in this posture. The elbows are pointing backwards and the hands forwards. Then the upper spine sinks downward, which pushes the shoulders upward and forward. The knees are pulled towards the head with the toes pointed. In this position, it is valuable to lift and lower the spine, which will have the effect of bringing a deep stretch to the shoulders. Lift the chest and then slowly rock the knees and legs from side to side while keeping the belly soft and the face soft. Extend the legs towards the ceiling with the legs straight. The knees are not bent and the toes are pointed. With the knees still straight, pull the toes towards the floor as the heels lift to the sky. Rolling forward to sitting, the torso turns to the right. The back of the left arm braces itself against the outside of the right knee, thereby helping the torso muscles to maintain the turning of the torso. The right hand falls to the floor for assistance with balance and support in the posture. Elongate the spine, drop the shoulders and soften the belly. Feel both the sitting bones in contact with the floor. Repeat the posture on the other side, turning torso to the left with the back of the right arm bracing itself against the outside of the left leg and the right hand placed on the floor between the left hip and the right foot. This same hand brace was done on the other side, but it was not visible because of the camera direction. With these two body braces, the torso can be held in its turned position without the muscles of the torso having to perform the work. Thus, the torso muscles can relax in a position of stretch that would not be possible if the two body braces were not in position. Then elongate the spine and soften the belly. Repeat this posture again to the right. Sink into the posture. Then raise the right arm towards the sky and rotate the right arm clockwise. Elongate the spine in the lifted arm. Soften the belly and the breath. Repeat the posture again to the left. Sink into the posture, and then raise the left arm towards the sky and rotate the arm counterclockwise, which is the opposite rotational direction than was just done on the other side. Then elongate the spine and the lifted arm while softening the belly and the breath. Returning to the beginning position of the flexibility form, slowly and with complete control, allow the body to roll backwards into a position where you are essentially laying on your upper back and the knees and the legs are held over the head. Rest here and allow the knees to fall towards the face and the thighs to fall towards the chest. Cross both arms beneath the legs in such a way that the arms are in contact with the thighs between the knees and the waist. Straighten the arms and point the hands to the ceiling. Then, keeping the feet together, allow the knees to pull apart, and because they are in contact with the crossed arms, they will pull the arms towards one another, which will pull the shoulder blades away from one another on the back. Next, maintaining this held position, lift the head and begin to very slowly roll back and forth along the upper spine. The legs pulling apart, continue to pull the shoulders together and thereby pull the shoulder blades away from one another on the back. The hands reach to the feet and hold the toes. Keep the knees straight if possible, and then slowly roll back and forth along the upper spine. Release the hands from the feet and then slowly move the feet further back behind the head. The hands come to the middle of the back to assist with balance and to guide the body further backwards. Next, allow the left hip to fall into the left hand while extending the right hip upwards, elongating the right side of the waist in the rib cage. Move the hips over to the opposite side and allow the right hip to rest in the right hand as the left hip extends upward, elongating the left side of the waist and the rib cage. This is a curious and somewhat difficult position, but one that stretches certain muscles not accessed by any other position. While bending the torso to the left, drop the left knee to the floor near the left ear, and point the left foot to the sky. Then place the straight right leg on the outside of the left foot, and use the left foot to gently sway the right leg back and forth a few inches, while the right hip subtly lifts to the sky. Repeat the same posture on the other side, noticing that the weight of the hips are supported by the right hand and that the left arm is essentially not doing much besides assisting with balance. While bending the torso to the right, drop the right knee to the floor near the right ear and point the right foot to the sky. Then place the straight left leg on the outside of the right foot and use the right foot to gently sway the left leg back and forth a few inches while the left hip lifts to the sky. Return both legs to the center and then hold the toes with the hands. Slowly allow the straight legs to fall to the sides as the bottom falls towards the floor. Slowly sink into this position. Then lift the head slightly and use the hands to pull the feet closer to the floor. While holding this position, deepen your breathing and observe the different effects of inhalation and exhalation on the posture. The feet and the legs return to the center. The legs are straight with no bend in the knees and the toes are pointed. The hands are placed as high up the back of the legs as possible with the knees not bending. Then with soft belly, use the pelvis muscles to pull the bottom towards the ground. The hands also exert pressure along the line of the legs, thereby assisting the pelvis muscles in lowering the bottom to the floor. Maintaining this position, alternately arch the right and left feet down towards the head. The straight left leg is lowered to floor while the left hand reaches up to hold the right ankle. Use the left hand to pull the straight right leg backwards while the right elbow is resting on the floor by the waist and the right hand is on the side of the right thigh. Sink into the position, and then pulling the straight right leg a few inches towards the center, begin to do foot rolls, 5 to 10 in each direction, without bending the knee. To transition into the next position involves 2 simultaneous movements. The right hand reaches high up on the outside of the right leg and slowly lowers the leg to the floor on the right side as the left arm falls to the floor above the head. The right hand is now underneath the straight right leg and the left hand is pulling in traction away from the pointed left toe. Do not attempt to pull the right leg so high towards the head that the right knee bends. It is more important to keep the legs straight and to keep the left hip on the ground. Maintaining this position, begin to slowly sweep the arm from above the head down to the waist, all the while elongating the arm and putting the shoulder in traction. Make a graceful transition to the posture on the other side by using the right hand to lift the left leg to the sky and then holding it in position. Straighten the knee and use the pelvis muscles to pull the left hip and bottom towards the ground. Also use the right hand to pull down on the shaft of the straight left leg, helping the bottom to sink further to the floor. Then, still keeping the left leg straight, pull it slightly to the center and begin foot rolls in both directions with no tension in the toes as the foot turns. Maintain awareness of both feet, holding them either pointed or pulled back throughout these positions on both sides. To transit into the next position involves two simultaneous movements. The left hand reaches high up the outside of the left leg and slowly lowers that leg to the floor on the left side as the right arm falls to the floor above the head. The left hand is now underneath the straight left leg, and the right hand is pulling in traction away from the pointed right foot. Do not attempt to pull the left leg so high towards the head that the left knee bends. It is more important to keep the left leg straight and to keep the right hip on the ground. Maintaining this position, begin to slowly sweep the arm from above the head down to the waist, all the while elongating the arm and putting the shoulder in traction. Bend both knees and pull them towards the chest with the hands. Then placing the hands on the front of the ankles, pull the ankles down to the floor with the heels coming together as the knees fall apart to the sides. Keep the heels together and close to the groin. Then turn the arms outward by rotating the right arm clockwise and the left arm counterclockwise so that the hands can be placed upon the upper thighs with the fingers pointing down and the thumbs pointing up. Then allowing the shoulders to rise towards the ears, straighten the elbows so that a straight arm body brace is achieved, and the upper body is pushing against the lower body, stretching the middle body between them. This unusual position is highly effective in putting the lower lumbar vertebra and discs in true linear traction. Keep the breathing easy and relax any unnecessary muscular contraction. While holding this position, experiment with alternately tightening and releasing both the belly and the bottom. It is crucial that the elbows be straight and that the straight arm body brace is performing the thigh push, not the triceps muscles. Release the hands from the traction position and extend them above the chest with the palms facing one another and the fingers interlaced. Then allow the arms to drop to the floor above the head and begin to gently pull them away from the shoulders and lower body, putting the shoulders in traction. Soften the belly, ease the breath, and elongate the spine. Next, turn the right knee all the way in towards the center and place the left foot atop the right knee. Allow the weight of the foot to help the knee sink to the floor. As the body sinks into this position, begin to slowly wiggle the hips back and forth, frontwards and backwards. Repeat this same position on the other side by turning the left knee all the way into the center and placing the right foot atop the left knee. Allow the weight of the right foot to help the left knee sink to the floor. As the body sinks into the position, slowly wiggle the hips back and forth, frontwards and backwards. Keeping the hands and the arms in the same traction position, bring the knees and the feet together and lift the torso upwards so that a straight line is formed from the knees across the belly to the upper chest. Holding the torso in this position, soften the belly, elongate the spine, and let the breathing be easy while alternately tightening and releasing the buttocks muscles. Then allow the right hip to sink as the left hip is raised. Hold this position while keeping the belly soft. Next, drop the left hip and raise the right, still with the belly soft and the torso held high. Next, roll over in some way so as to end up sitting in a kneeling position with your bottom between your legs. The manner of coming into this position that I demonstrate here is rather advanced, and it is fine to discover your own way of coming into the kneeling position. Once in the kneeling position, both sitting bones are resting upon the floor as the bottom is between the 2 feet. In this position, practice circles with the lower rib cage going in both directions. This unusual posture allows one to deeply stretch the front of the foot, an area that is very often missed in most yoga styles. Turn the torso to the left and lean backwards while elevating the left knee and aiming the stretch into the top of the left foot and ankle. Repeat this posture on the other side by turning the torso to the right and leaning backwards while elevating the right knee and aiming the stretch into the top of the right foot and ankle. Again, we will enter a posture similar to a variant done at the beginning of the flexibility form that stretches the psoas muscle and strengthens the lower back. Once you are in the basic posture, elongate the spine and lift from the chest, but drop the shoulders. Lift from the center of the head, but lower the chin and soften the jaw. Tuck the pelvis upward, but soften the belly and let the breathing be easy. With the hands on the legs for support, begin to raise and lower the torso several times, keeping the chest high and not rounding the back. When turning the torso to the left, place the left hand behind and slightly beneath the left leg so that a body brace is formed that helps the torso stay turned to the left without the torso muscles doing all the work. Extend the right arm up to the sky, making a long arc from the tip of the right hand across the chest and down to the front of the left thigh. Place the right hand on the floor in front of the right foot and roll the hips forward so the belly sinks towards the floor. Point the left foot to the sky and use some part of the left hand or arm to gently pull the left foot further back, which will give a wonderful stretch to the front of the left thigh. Extending arms straight out from the shoulders, pull the hands away from one another in order to put the shoulders in traction. Notice how the left hand is holding the left foot, which allows the left leg to assist in the traction of the left shoulder because the left foot is pulling away from the left shoulder. Keep the spine erect and the chest high while the shoulders are soft and dropped. Switch sides and perform all the previous 4 postures with the positions of the legs switched. While doing the postures, keep the chest held high with the shoulders low and at equal height. The head held high with the jaw and face soft, with the pelvis tucked forward and the belly soft. When turning the torso to the right, place the right hand behind and slightly beneath the right leg so that a body brace is formed that helps the torso stay turned to the right without the torso muscles having to do all the work. Extend the left arm up to the sky, making a long arc from the tip of the left hand across the chest and down to the front of the right thigh. Place the left hand on the floor in front of the left foot and roll the hips forward so the belly sinks towards the floor. Point the right foot to the sky and use some part of the right hand or arm to gently pull the right foot further back, which will accentuate the stretch given to the front of the right thigh. Extending the arms straight out from the shoulders, pull the hands away from one another in order to put the shoulders in traction. Then, with the hands on the legs for support, begin to raise and lower the torso several times, keeping the chest high and not rounding the back. Come into this squatting position with both feet flat on the floor. Then allow the knees to fall apart as the belly and groin sink towards the floor. Drop your head towards the floor, place your hands behind your feet, and slowly lower the bottom onto the floor between the feet and the hands, so the soft part of the bottom is then resting upon the hands. Next, allow the weight of the legs to pull down on the insides of the elbows, which will pull the shoulders down. With the shoulders being pulled down by the legs, elongate the spine and lift the chest upwards, which will give a wonderful traction stretch for the trapezius muscles in the shoulders and upper back. Rock the head side to side while maintaining this posture. Raise the pointed feet and straight legs towards the sky. Then slowly allow the legs to fall to the sides as the bottom sinks to the ground. As the bottom nears the ground, bend the left knee and bring the left foot to near the groin while extending the right leg far out to the right side. Then very slowly begin to turn the torso towards the left, which will have the simultaneous effect of rotating the right leg inward and creating traction within the right hip joint. Repeat this rolling movement of the right leg a few times, aiming the traction into the right hip socket. Straighten the left leg and pull it far to the left side as you bend the right knee and pull the right foot to the groin. Now slowly turn the torso towards the right, which will have the double effect of rotating the left leg inward while simultaneously creating traction within the left hip joint. Repeat this rolling movement of the left leg with your eyes shut and deeply feel the traction inside your left hip. Spread both legs as far apart as possible and seek to maintain this spread leg position through the postures and movements demonstrated. First, experiment with turning the torso and letting it sink alternately towards either knee. Then, placing the left hand behind the back, bend the torso over to the right side as the right elbow falls to the floor in front of the right knee. Allow the torso to sink further down to the right as the left side of the rib cage is stretched. While the left hand is behind the back, slightly pull the left elbow downward, which will increase the stretch on the left side of the neck. Now release the left hand from behind the back and reach over the head towards the right foot, grasping and holding it if you can. Then deepen your breathing and observe its effect upon the posture. While holding the posture, sweep your awareness around the body, looking for and releasing any areas of unnecessary muscular contraction. Repeat this same posture by bending the torso to the left side. Here the right hand is placed behind the back. While holding this position, slightly pull your right elbow downward and feel how this stretches the right side of the neck. Now release the right hand from behind the back and reach over the head towards the left foot, grasping and holding it if you can. Deepen your breathing and observe its effect upon the posture. While holding the posture, again sweep your awareness slowly around the body, looking for and releasing any areas of unnecessary muscular contraction. Bring the spine back to center. Then place the right hand behind the back and turn the torso towards the right as the left hand slides down the outside of the right leg to hold the right foot, creating a forward bend to the side. Sink into the position while holding the chest high. Then gently pull the chest towards the right foot and deepen the breathing. Next, release the right arm from behind the back, and while simultaneously turning the torso, insert the right hand beneath the left arm and hold the right foot as shown. This movement turns a forward bend done to the side into a side bend done to the side. Repeat these same postures and movements with the torso turned to the left. This time the left hand will be placed behind the back and the right hand will slide down the outside of the left leg to catch and hold the left foot. This is now a forward bend to the left side. Sink into the position while holding the chest high. Then gently pull the chest towards the left foot, soften the belly, and deepen the breathing. Release the left hand, and while simultaneously turning the torso, insert the left hand beneath the right arm as shown. This turning motion of the torso, coupled with the arm movements, will change the posture from a front bend to the side into a side bend to the side. Sink deeper into the posture and allow your feeling attention to sweep around the body, releasing any unnecessary muscular contraction. Return the torso to the center, and with a straight back, allow your chest to sink towards the floor. Let the belly drop first, while the chest is held high, so that the back is not rounded. Bring the legs together, and placing the hands on the feet, pull the head and the shoulders towards the feet, stretching the back of the legs. While allowing the entire torso to sink to the floor, keep the chest high and the back as straight as possible. Roll over and spread the legs apart with the feet turned outwards, and place the elbows directly under the shoulders. Rest here for a few seconds, lifting and pulling the chest forward as the belly sinks and the head is held high. Then, using the hands, raise the body to a more upright position. The arms should now be straight as the chest lifts and the belly continues to sink to the floor. Next, bending the knees and pointing the feet to the sky, allow the groin to be lifted slightly off the ground, and then begin to sway the feet side to side as shown. Hold the chest high and forward, gently pulling away from the knees on the floor while the belly is held soft. Arising, come into this position with the body generally at a 90-degree angle with no bend in the knees and with a straight back. Tighten the muscles in the legs, arms, and back, and push into the floor with both the heels and the base of the hands. Step forwards into a bent-over, hanging torso position with the hands resting inside the elbows and the knees straight. Simply hang for a few moments and be conscious of allowing the face and the eyes and the brain to sink towards the floor. Keep the legs straight, the breathing easy, and release any unnecessary muscular contraction around the body. Stand halfway up so that the body is in a 90-degree angle with the back straight. Place the hands high up on the centers of the thighs and allow the shoulders to extend towards the ears as you straighten the elbows so that a body brace is achieved. This position, when done correctly, uses the upper part of the body to press against the lower part in order to stretch the middle part. While holding the traction, which will elongate the entire spine, let the belly sink towards the floor and allow the breathing to be easy. Again, bend forward into a bent-over, hanging torso position, and once more allow the spine and neck and face to sink towards the floor. Let the breathing be easy. Then return to standing. This will complete the flexibility form. This concludes the Nomadics flexibility video. In closing, I would like to express deep gratitude to all the dance and movement teachers I have studied with, and equally important, appreciation to the many hundreds of students who have taken my classes over the past 20 years. Studying and teaching movement has been an extraordinarily important part of my life. From this life of movement, I have been gifted with abundant health, a legendary vitality, and an ever-increasing awareness of the great spiritual beauty of human life. It is my hope that my movement teachings, through the Nomadics method, will touch many other people's lives in an equally beautiful way. Thank you and much peace to you.